This is the rear foot elevated pigeon stretch and split squat. So you see here, to set up for this, I'm going to use two benches. Basically what I'm going to do, I'll pause here real quick, is I'm going to set up a bench to elevate my back foot like I'm doing a rear foot elevated split squat or a half kneeling hip flexor stretch with the back foot up. And then I'm going to use an incline bench on the front leg to be able to adjust how much range of motion I want to stretch into. So if my hip mobility is not so good and I need less range of motion, what I'll do is I'll raise the height of the incline bench. And then if my hip mobility is better, I have more range of motion, I can tolerate more of a stretch, I can lower the incline bench closer to flat to make things more challenging. I'm at about 30 degrees here. But all I'm going to do is get into this stretch. You see I'm slightly leaned forward, but my torso remains tall, and I'm just taking deep breaths here. Also, I have long enough legs where I can get my back knee to just kind of rest on the ground. You're going to want to do that for this. You're going to want to be able to kind of like rest onto that back knee. The stretch can get pretty aggressive through the back of that front hip that's open, as well as the front of the hip in the back, or the hip that has that stretch up through the front of the hip flexor here. So if you can't quite touch the ground, and obviously you can use cushion, yoga mat, something to put your knee on, but if you're not quite able to touch the ground, what you want to do is elevate with like a yoga block, sandbags, some extra cushioning, something you can get high enough so that you can comfortably get in that stretch while kneeling down on that back knee. So you see I'm just going to sit and breathe, and then once you feel comfortable and we have some range of motion into this stretch, we're going for that big stretch through the back of that hip. It's the left hip in this case. Once we feel like we own that stretch, we can turn this into actually an exercise, so a rear foot elevated pigeon split squat, if you will, where you see I am just actively working into that externally rotated or that open hip and getting some active range of motion. Basically strengthening into external rotation. So we can take this from a passive stretch, and we can progress this like any other exercise. To make it more challenging as you get stronger at it, we can either, like we said before, lower the height of the bench to get a more aggressive stretch, and or we can load a weight up here in the goblet position, either dumbbell or kettlebell, and that's obviously going to lend to a lot more difficult of a movement here. So this is the rear foot elevated pigeon split squat and stretch.